So how much should an estate plan cost? I get this question all the time. I get the question, why can't I just do it myself online, all the time? And it's a really reasonable question. I totally understand why people would wonder why they can't just do it online. I think there's a lot of misconception about my estate's not that complicated, I don't have that much money, how hard can it be? And the truth is, the complexity of an estate plan really has nothing to do with how much money you have. It has nothing to do with whether you're married or not, whether you have a lot of assets to leave behind. It really has to do with things that people really wouldn't even consider to be all that complex. And then things that people might think are super complex are actually very simple. So if you're doing a plan online, that online program is not going to know the questions to ask you. It gets very intricate really quickly, and I've seen people disinherit after-born children because their will didn't specify what should happen if they had kids after the will was signed. I've seen people have assets go to people not even listed in their will because they didn't make a provision for after acquired assets. So assets that were acquired after the will was drafted, the will wasn't clear what should happen to those assets, and then that just opens the door for people to come in and argue that they're entitled to those assets. Really, really small omissions, simple mistakes can spell disaster. And I think even if you're just spending, $500 online doing a will, if that will doesn't do what you want it to do, that's $500 down the drain. So I wouldn't recommend doing an estate plan online. I would recommend working with an attorney. And I think when you're looking for attorneys, some of the things that you should think about are, how do they bill? Do they bill by the hour? Are you going to be charged for every phone call, every email? Or do they work off of a flat fee structure? So do you know going in exactly how much you're going to be investing? And if you have a question about your plan, or if you have a question via email, are you going to feel like you can ask that question without getting a bill in the mail? So I would recommend working with an attorney who has a flat fee structure, and you know exactly what you're getting for that fee, and there are no tag-ons later, documents that you probably need that weren't part of the original price, and now the price is going up. So you just want complete clarity on how much you're going to be spending. I would also recommend working with a lawyer who has a very relationship-based approach to estate planning. Estate planning is not something that you just do once and then put your binder on the shelf and never look at it again. Your life is going to change, your assets are going to change, your family is going to change, the law will change. All of these things are going to have an impact on your estate plan. So you really want to be working with someone who has systems in place to keep in touch with you, to make sure that your plan is still working for you, reminding you, do you have a new job? Do you have a new baby? Are you divorced? What things have happened in your life? These things all are going to have a major impact on your estate plan. So you want to work with a lawyer who keeps in touch with you and who has systems in place to make sure that that you're still in touch with each other and that your plan is still going to work for you when you need it to. I think it's important to work with a lawyer who focuses on things other than the financial assets. Some of the assets that we pass down to our children and our loved ones are intangible, and they're not money, they're not anything financial. There are values and stories and insights and experiences and the legacy that you leave behind. I think is just as important in many ways, if not more, than the finances that you leave behind. So it's nice to work with a lawyer who has systems in place to capture all of those things. So the point to remember is you want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples when you're comparing different lawyers and different prices. Estate planning is like anything else. You get what you pay for, and if you're working with a lawyer who is charging what seems like abnormally low prices, that may not be a lawyer who has a lot of time to answer your questions because they're so busy getting people in and out the door. It's the only way that they can survive. as a lawyer is to get as many clients in and out the door as possible. So just make sure that you're comparing apples to apples when you're looking at different attorneys. And one of the things that we do at our firm is we give free estate planning talks and estate planning webinars at least 4 times a month. And these are held in our Columbus Circle office or online. And we go over our entire process, all of the different packages that we have. You can select a package that makes sense for you based on your family and the things that you need and the planning that makes sense for your family. And we go over our fees at our free talks as well. So there's complete transparency in terms of how much you're going to be investing in your plan, and nothing is billed by the hour, and there are no surprises. You can call or email as often as you want. I want my clients to feel like they can ask me any question and to not worry that they're not going to get a bill in the mail. So again, I would just make sure that you're comparing apples to apples, and when you come into one of our free talks or webinars, we'll go over our fee schedule in detail.